I go one more time back to that hatred teaching or nationalism, which started sometimes to develop at faster pace at my age 10 or 11, and it was developed in as well as home settings and at school settings. In this school settings, it was performed by teachers who have instructed a group of kids on how to incite that type of behavior in victims. And I want to, in my case, and in numerous cases which are basically your cases and concern you or your kids, want to address this issue as nationalistic hate education is very, very important, as I mentioned earlier. It gives the systems legal grounds for upgraded levels of persecutions against its victims. It gives state official apology for crimes committed against this little scapegoats. Not only I was bitten, not only was I bitten in my entire childhood, but because of this violent behavior, because of this genocidal behavior, destroying my future and everything else, the system needs some sort of assurance, something that would lay her future excuse for basically what was done against me. And what better way, like I said, than inciting hatred, nationalism in one. Now, and nobody else have taken more or better advantage over this hatred issues than so-called humanists, our friends humanists, the humanistic people, the humanists. Yes, those who claim to be humanists, and they actually need victims in order to gain trust and prove the world their worthiness, the reason for them to even exist, parasites. Nationalists are precious. They are precious, as they are always guilty. Like myself, when small, they're bitten the crap out of it. They're beaten up on a daily basis, abused severely by governments. Physically, afterwards they are isolated, ostracized. In fact, you can do with them whatever you want. Forcefully unemployed, and per statistics, you know, if needed so, even lobotomized. Yes. So the humanists can prove how effective they are, that there is so-called law and the justice, the law and the justice, because with the law and justice they can prove the world the reason or worthiness of their existence. And this, my friends, this is called law and the justice. The anarchism and the criminal society is what this is. So they are imprisoned and even brain killed, lobotomized, if the governments only have that type of ambitions or appetite toward them as individuals. All depends on government needs, needs of the humanists, because you know why? The humanists, the parasites, quite opposite. They are developed by the system and used. If you remember, if we go back in time, in my childhood, who was the one who have later developed in life into humanists? The people who have become humanists. People like myself who were very resistant, impossible to destroy, despite or regardless of hardship that have taken place against me, but have become perverse, or they have, in other words, lost respect for themselves or for their grief. They have actually lost respect for their own people and for who and what they should stand up for our European heritage. This is one group, and then of course another one, the parasitic group, which is people who were those who have instructed me and other victims toward hatred. People who have taken orders from teachers on how to spread violence in the school. Those are actually so-called humanists, liars, because you know why? They are exactly opposite of what they claim to be, and here in my case this is proven. They are exactly opposite of what they claim to be. They are not humanists. They were the one to spread the hate. They were the one to spread the violence, and they are the one who kill and murder best people we ever have had today in order to apologize their existence under the criminal pretense of law and worthiness, just by gaining trust from naive people who are unfamiliar with these types of political systems, parasitic systems. This is the way our governments prove their affiliation and their loyalties to basics or civilized world. This is not a civilized world. This is a barbarism we are talking about here. They are not humanists. They are the worst that have ever existed. And how civilized is this world? Victims are persecuted to extent like mine, about which you will learn in continuation. Nationalists are actually national treasures, as you see now. The scapegoat for blood-hungry criminal elite. And in every system, regardless of ideologies, either it is capitalistic or it is communist system, regardless of that, you will find nationalists everywhere. And these little treasures, nationalists, never turn against their own nations, but for the price of own lives, expose themselves or their lives, as we witness today, those little skinheads and other people and others that are marching on the streets and just basically exposing themselves to something that is not even their fault to be that way. Or in other words, just to be in return humiliated, betrayed, and killed, as I have stated. Their destiny always depends on government needs, yet their matrix, maybe you want to refer to that matrix as karma, but it's always loaded with a failure, with betrayal. That much about hatred and nationalism. It's not their karma, their destiny, or luck, but matrix, or whatever governments load on each individual during early school years.